Happy Tuesday and welcome back to the Wolff Den presented by Win Again Academy. Ticket Time Machine and Win Again Academy are going to do a really good sports and entertainment networking event next Tuesday. Stay tuned for details on that later today. Really excited for our guest today, welcoming Danny Wuerffel to the Wolff Den. Danny, how's everything going?
Matt, doing great. Thanks, man.
Normally, in the interest of time, I'm going to give an introduction for you because I think it's pretty easy. You're a Heisman winner, national champion, Draddy Trophy, entrepreneur, philanthropist, man of faith, father, husband. Anything else I forgot?
Man, that's a good list. Thanks.
So really excited to have you on here. And the reason why you're on here, there's a number of reasons why you're on here. Reached out to try and get some more information about getting involved in the Desire Cup. So tell everybody what the Desire Cup is and why they should care.
There you go. Well, I got our little logo right here, Desire Cup. So obviously the main work that I do in my life is Desire Street Ministries. We work in under-resourced neighborhoods all over the South, working with leaders and groups that impact hundreds and thousands of kids and families. So it's a great organization, and the Desire Cup is our big public fundraiser for the year. We kind of garner the enthusiasm and excitement from the Florida-Georgia game, or for any Bulldogs out there, I'll call it the Georgia-Florida game. And we bring in fans that compete against each other. And then we also bring in celebrities. So, Coach Spurrier and Coach Dooley are there every year. Tebow shows up often. Herschel's been there. Champ Bailey, Emmett Smith's been. So we bring in all these different celebrities. We have a great experience. And it's the Thursday and Friday before the Florida-Georgia game, October 28th and 29th.
Have you ever heard of Orphan Starfish Foundation?
I have not.
I'm going to connect you with them because they're big into the underprivileged. It's really all around the world.
Sweet.
So I think they'd be a good organization for you to get some information for. Well, let's start from the beginning. How did this type of activity and how did it become ingrained in your mind? We know your father was a minister, right? But tell us a little bit about how you became who you are, because it's funny. I tell people, hey, Danny Wuerffel's coming on the Wolff Den, and the younger people, I'm a Gator fan, graduated in '98. They might not know who Danny Wuerffel. They know Tim Tebow. And what I say is Danny Wuerffel was Tim Tebow before Tim Tebow.
Ah, that's kind. That's kind. Thank you. Well, grew up playing all sorts of sports and just happened to kind of fall into a good spot in high school to play quarterback, and got a chance to go play for arguably the greatest quarterback mind and coach ever, Steve Spurrier, and won a lot of stuff. So I was drafted by the Saints, and just because a lot of the people that had poured into me, including my family and others, I was just looking for something to be involved in the city. I had no idea exactly what that would be. And I heard about this organization in the 9th Ward. It was at one point rated the worst neighborhood in the country, second largest public housing project. And so I went and visited and was just blown away by the level of challenges and poverty that people living not far from the Superdome, Matt, right where we won the national title, where I'm playing professional football. In my mind, I would think often about, kids that were really, really struggling being across the country or being in a different continent. But to see the challenges that close really impacted me. And there was an organization, Desire Street, already started. I didn't start the organization, but I just got involved and started helping, and just crazy stuff. The valedictorian at the public high school there usually didn't pass the ACT. So I think about that. That's just such an unfair environment to be born into for lots of different reasons. And so to help make a difference, and we started a school, and we help kids go off to college. We did after school programming, housing, and then really the goal was to see that grow. And then after Katrina, I became the director. We moved our headquarters to Atlanta. And basically the beauty now is, my life, as I alluded to, was deeply impacted by my Coach Spurrier. And the ability to have somebody that's been there help you makes a big difference. So Desire Street now, we partner up with younger leaders that live and serve in under-resourced neighborhoods. We partner with them for 3 to 5 years and help them become super successful. So we're trying to develop some inner city, under-resourced Heisman-esque type leaders to really continue doing great work. So that's the nuts and bolts of Desire Street and what we do. And of course, the Desire Cup is the way to support us.
And so where does the Wuerffel Foundation come into all of this?
So just now launching the Wuerffel Foundation, and the Wuerffel Foundation is really helping me on a little bit broader level to inspire more service and unity in the world. Just as you look around, there's so many challenges in our world. There's division is like the new thing. It's fun when it's Florida State and you're kind of pecking at each other. But when people in the same household, people in the same schools, in the same country, can't get along at all so often, I think something needs to be done. So I'm looking forward to tell stories of people that are doing great work. We've got the Wuerffel Trophy, which is an award that goes to the college football player who does the most community service. So we'll get to tell countless stories of college athletes doing great work and other people as well. So really excited about this next initiative going forward.
And you also, so many accolades. It's just, we can do, 3 hours just talking about all your accolades. But the importance of it is you are one of only 2 people to win the Draddy, which is now, I forget what it's now called.
Campbell now. It's called the Campbell.
So you and Tebow, 2 Heisman winners who won the Draddy. And the great thing about that is it's one of those awards that, and I was just before looking at the previous winners, I recognized like 3 names, which is awesome because I think it's great to recognize those people who are doing such good things. And it has nothing to do with how good a football player. And there's some great football players winning it, by the way. But the people who you've never heard of winning this award, I think is really what makes it a special award.
Yeah, well, obviously the Heisman gets all the hype, but the National Football Foundation does the Campbell Award, which is really focused on the Scholar Athlete of the Year. And then the Wuerffel Trophy really focuses on those that are doing the most outstanding community service. And so, again, it's not always the best player or the most high-profile player, but this is the player that really has put in hundreds, if not thousands of hours that most people don't know about, doing tremendous work. And Matt, we've had about 100 nominees each year, which just goes to show how many players on many teams are doing a heroic type of work.
And that's for the Wuerffel Trophy.
Yeah.
And that's, you grew up in Fort Walton in Florida. Is that a local state award or this is national?
The Wuerffel Trophy is a Division I college football award, very similar to the Heisman. In fact, some sports writers called it the Heisman Humanitarian Award. And it's designed for Division I college athletes who do the most service. So it's a national award, and we get nominations from every conference. Like I said, we get about 100. Just it's been an outstanding thing so far, and we hope to raise that profile, not just to raise the profile of an award, that's one thing, but really to raise the profile of the type of work that they're doing, because it's really inspiring. I don't know about you, but when I see somebody that's doing something that's so amazing, it inspires me to be just a little bit better, and that's really what we're trying to do.
I try and be a good person. I've done good things. I've done some bad things.
We all have.
Yeah. That's debatable. But anyway, one of the things that the pandemic really hit home and really instilled in me is there's so many people doing such great things. And I got inspired to do some things. And basically, it's just because of where I'm sharing stuff. And I created a series called Learning LinkedIn, where we bring people on to try and help them find work. And I'm just clicking like, and there's people out there who are doing like some really good work. All of it helps because, as you know, in this day and age, all it could take is one click, one share, one person could really change someone's life. So I really look at everything in that way and just want to do my part with it. The Wuerffel
awesome.
Trophy is part of the ESPN awards night, like the Blitnikoff, when it's given out for all those.
Yep. They've announced we've had our winner on the red carpet several years, and this past year, Teton Saltis from New Mexico State was our winner, and he was live interviewed on the show. Absolutely.
So let's go back again. We go back to the start. You were a pretty good basketball player in high school, correct?
Decent. Yeah. I probably in more in the middle school, junior high area, I was excelling more and played all the way through high school. In fact, when I was in ninth grade, I was in one class and they said, put your goals down for the future. And I remember one of my goals was to get a college scholarship. And as I wrote that, I actually was envisioning basketball in ninth grade. But as the years went by, I became a much more proficient 6'2" quarterback than 6'2" power forward.
Yeah. Could you have played college and gotten a scholarship in
basketball? Maybe at a smaller school. I think, if I would have really focused more on that in my 3 years in college, I maybe could have played somewhere, but I don't think I would have been a high-profile Division I basketball player, at least not in reality. In my mind, I'm sure I could have been.
And I always like to ask, life is all about choices and timing. How would your life be different if you didn't play for the Gators and you played somewhere else, or if you didn't play football at all? What would you? Obviously, you'd be in the business of helping people and philanthropy. But what do you think you would have started 20 years ago?
Yeah, it's very interesting. In fact, I think I saw a preview about a show about a guy that lives out 5 different lives or something, and that is fascinating to me. There's lots of things I would do differently if I had 5 shots. But you only have one, and how do you live and invest your life? And the one you have, I think, is important, but hard to say. I think, I really looked at Alabama and I looked at Florida State and Florida, and had I not picked Florida, I don't know what would have happened. I think the way that my mind is designed and the way that I play quarterback happened to be an ideal fit for Steve Spurrier at the right time in the right place. So I could see anything from not playing much at another school to maybe also having success there too. But you just never know how things unfold differently. But choosing Florida was definitely a good choice in my life.
Yeah, I have a quick story here. My sister went to University of Arizona, and I have a twin brother. Now, out of high school, I didn't have very good grades, but I got into Arizona. My parents didn't let me go. My twin brother went to UF right out of high school. I went to a year of community college and then transferred into UF in 95. So, I probably never should have gotten into UF even in 95, but it'd be interesting. I'm living in Florida now because I went to Florida, moved home, came back to Florida. If I would have gone to Arizona, my life would have been totally different. I probably could have carved out a pretty great life, but it's hard to see it being any better and maybe being much happier than I'm doing now. So you just never know. Sometimes it's about the choice you make. Sometimes it's about how good you take a situation and make it. But really happy that I ended up there. It's crazy how hard it is to get into University of Florida. Your kids are older now, right? How old?
Yeah, I have. Ironically, my son is a senior, and we just visited Florida last week, as well as UCF and Full Sail University in Orlando as well. And Florida is mighty tough to get into these days.
It's I shouldn't have gotten in 20 something years ago when I graduated. I'm not even I definitely wouldn't be able to get in now. But it's great. Everything has changed. Have you been to the new Spurrier Restaurant?
Yeah, I have had a brunch there on Sunday, hosted some friends of the Wuerffel Foundation. I had dinner there once before. It's outstanding restaurant. I mean, the food is super high quality, more than anyone I think would expect when you think about a type of sports bar type place. It's really more like a Seasons 52 type of restaurant. And then it's got the sweet kind of sports bar on the roof, kind of a rooftop deck.
Yeah, we went up to Visors Friday for happy hour. I was in town for the Alabama game. My next game will be in Jacksonville, so I'll be seeing you at the Desire Cup before then. Again, we talk about all the accolades that you have. And it's interesting when you talk about trying to get the word out and really champion for a cause. There's so many great causes out there, and some of it is they get the attention because of who they are. Like you're pretty well known in Florida and all of that, but now you're competing against. I say competing, but Drew Brees, right? He's doing his thing, and then in some cases you're competing with Tebow and his foundation. How do you get the attention that everything you're trying to do deserves?
Well, I think you hit it earlier. There's a lot of great things. And so, I don't presume, well, first of all, it may be more accurate to use the word compete or not, but I really feel like there's there's more than enough resources to go around, and that it's really how can we all make it better for everyone. So that's more my mindset. And so, a lot of times I like inspiring people to give, and whether they give to Desire Street or somewhere else, I think it's a win either way. And so in that sense, I think it's great. I do think, I find the people get the most satisfaction and end up giving the most of themselves and their money, their talents, their time when they get connected with the organization or something that really fits with who they are and why. So I think everybody has different things. Some people love to help kids with education. Some people love to get hands-on and work and help build things. Some people, accountants are brilliant at being accountants and want to help be on a board. There's just all sorts of ways people can give back. And then a lot of times in people's life, their stories, if you had a child that maybe struggled with a certain disease, you might be really motivated to help in that thing and help cure that disease or help those families that are struggling. So I really like when people get connected with something that really touches their heart. So I feel like my job is really just to let people know what we're doing and then see if they get motivated to be engaged, but also to really celebrate when somebody wants to go help Tim Tebow's group or Drew Brees or United Way or Boys and Girls Club, whatever it is. I think there's plenty of resources to go around. It's just getting the word out.
Yeah, there's plenty of resources, and I always thought there's so much money wasted out there. People who have we can, again, that's for a whole nother conversation, but just without even getting political, the whole recall thing in California, millions and millions of dollars just wasted. Think about all the good that could have done, even at general elections, just the amount of money that they waste to put on this election. And I don't want to call it waste, but I was just in LA and Vegas for the new stadium, $5 billion for a football stadium. It's crazy, right? Do you ever look at some of that stuff and be like, we could do a lot better for a lot more people if we had that kind of money?
Yeah, how we think about money, I think, is very conditioned by where we grow up and what we see and what we're used to. And so, I think it's to be exposed to more than our own world. I think when people go on trips in other countries and they get to see in some places how people live, I tend to live half my life with people that are really, really wealthy and half my life with people that aren't. I think that sort of helps keep me grounded, and I do think about how we waste money. I also try to think about how does my family, where are we spending our money? It's not on a billions of scales, obviously, but are we investing and spending in the right places? And but I share that with you. I think there's a lot of money that's spent on things that don't seem to be the wisest of investments.
Yeah, it's who are we to spend people's money, right? You've earned that money or accumulated it. Feel free to spend it however you want. I just find that there's better ways, and that's what I like about organizations like Wuerffel Foundation and Desire Cup. And I've had a number of organizations on the Wolff Den here to just try and elevate, because these are people don't know about them. You have some recognition across the country, right? But there's people like Orphan Starfish. The incredible work that they do is, but not as many people know who they are. And a lot of it has to do with just whose name is attached to it. And what they don't realize is these people are getting paid to have their name attached to it, right? Or paid to come and, perform at the gala. I asked someone about the gala they have, and like, yeah, we had to pay this guy $40,000 to perform. I'm like, well, wouldn't it just be better if you could just take that $40,000 and use it if he wants to help you out? Like, I like people who want to help me out because they like what I'm doing and the causes that I'm about, not because I paid them to do it.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, and really what you just said is a lot of the mission and why I started the Wuerffel Foundation is to use my platform to highlight other people doing great work. So I'm with you on that.
I think people don't, and I keep going back to the accolades because I forgot to talk about some of them. They don't really understand, how ridiculous your career has been and all the accolades. Like, you're a college football Hall of Famer and you just got recognized. I remember it was like a month or two ago. You guys had a great event with you and Steve. What was that?
The Wooden Cup here in Atlanta. Yeah, that was a really cool honor.
And highly recommend visiting the College Football Hall of Fame. It's just a pretty neat little way. If you're a football fan, they got a little bit of everything for whatever team you're a part of. What are you most proud of on the field? You know, what award, what accolade? I know that they don't mean much. You're like winning is everything, but you know, it's. I'd rather have a Heisman than not have a Heisman, right? So, which one is the most important award on the field for you? And Ricky, whether it's the Hall of Fame, the Heisman, any of that.
Yeah, well, certainly the Heisman is the most iconic. It sort of sticks with you. You know, you could do something terrible in life and end up in jail, or you could like win the Nobel Peace Prize and they still introduce you as the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
So that's the most iconic. That's probably the thing that on a day-by-day basis impacts my life more than some of the other things. You know, I think for me the most proud, the thing that really resonates the most is sort of the last month or so of my senior season and how that unfolded. You know, we were undefeated. We were number one in the country. We're going into our last regular season game against undefeated Florida State, and we lose. I get knocked down. My dad said 32 times. Several of them were late hits. Some were called, some were not called as late hits. And, you know, at that day and age, if you lost your last regular season game, there was no way you'd be up for a national title. So, you know, we dropped to fifth. I think Nebraska was one. You had Florida State, you had Alabama, you had Arizona
Texas,
State.
right? We got to do this for Texas.
Well, yes, we're going to come to that. They weren't ahead of us in the ranking, but they really played out because they beat Nebraska. So Nebraska dropped. And then we played Alabama and beat Alabama. And then Arizona State lost to Ohio State. And then we played Florida State. So it was like the chances of those things coming together. But to me, what hinges around sort of our team the week after the Florida State game, the first one. So everything we had dreamed of, you know, the year before we were undefeated and lost to Nebraska. You know, we'd won 3 SECs. We wanted the national title, and we had basically just lost it. And yet, our team kind of regathered ourselves. I credit some of the senior leadership in particular for saying, hey, you get knocked down in life, let's get back up and let's go play. And we got up and we beat Alabama and won the SEC championship, and everything else fell into our lap. And then we got a chance to play Florida State. So I really feel like that was a huge piece of the puzzle. There was this lesson of life that, you know, you're going to get knocked down. You never really go undefeated and everything goes your way. But when that happens, what do you do? And getting back up is a key lesson in life.
Well, 95 was my first year in Gainesville. My brother went a year earlier. That was my first year in Gainesville. This was my first real game in the swamp. I was at the first 2. What do you remember about that day?
Well, that was what year was that again?
That was 95.
Yeah, that was the year they were supposed to. They sent the crew down there to get Peyton Manning because they were going to put him on the cover, and they got out ahead of us, and then we scored like 9 straight touchdowns.
Yeah,
I think something like that.
48 straight unanswered. It was pouring rain. It was just one of the greatest college games I've ever been to in my life, and the feeling was unbelievable. Now, I want to hear your opinions. I think that 95 Nebraska team is the greatest college football team I've ever seen, because I thought you guys were ridiculous. I mean, and they blew everybody out, including the way they beat you guys in that championship was like, I thought we were about as good a team as you could have, probably even better than the team the following year when you won, maybe.
Yeah, you could make that argument. Yeah, I mean, I could say a lot of things that probably can't change the fact that they blew us out. Yeah, for sure.
Bad tackling.
And arguably, you could say that they may have been one of the best of all times. I think that's absolutely true. I would have loved to have another shot at them. I think the next year with Bob Stoops as our defensive coordinator, that was a big difference on our team. But I do think you're right. Player for player, our 95 team may have been overall a little bit better and healthier. We had some injuries in 96. But I think the Stoops defense made a big difference.
I asked you about your favorite and most proud moment on the field. How about off the field? What have you done? And you've done a lot to choose from. Is there something that sticks out as just a moment that you said, you know, this is all worth it? This is why I do this.
Well, we went through Hurricane Katrina, and that was a really difficult time. Personally, we lost our house, everything we owned. But then also the organization Desire Street was underwater, and the kids we helped were all over the country, and we ended up finding kids in many states, and we within 30 days opened a boarding school in Florida. And I'd say from the time the hurricane hit to getting that going, we had kids of all ages from high school down to seventh grade, and we made a commitment to keep the school open to at least see all those kids graduate. And so for the next 5 years, we kept that school going. We got those kids graduated, and then we rebuilt a community center and a medical clinic and an early childhood center in the Ninth Ward of New Orleans, right on Desire Street. And so clearly that whole scenario around kind of the surviving and rebuilding from Katrina are huge. And then another personal thing is, people always post their pictures with their family on Facebook, and they always look perfect, and you always look at everyone else's family and think they got it together. And my family's a good looking family. We got good pictures, but being a husband and being a father and trying to do it right it's hard. It's hard. It's hard work. And to kind of really be focused and committed to that. That's something I'm really proud of.
Well, how do you stay so clean? Because I was just talking to my sister. I was trying to explain to her who you are. She's not a sports fan, and I said, I mentioned he was Tebow before Tebow, and also said, if you told me that there was a huge scandal, it's in the papers and in the news, and it was this person, and I'm going to say, there's no way that happened. The first answer I would say is Mr. Rogers. The second one I would say is probably Tim Tebow, and you're up there. And if I start naming names, I'm who would surprise. So how do you live such a clean life and stay out of trouble? It seems like you would think it's easy to do, but it just seems to hit a ton of people.
Man, well, first of all, I am human. There's nothing perfect about me, and I'm glad you're talking to me and not my family. I'm sure they would point out all the things, and so I'm never trying to act perfect, and never trying to present that image. Far from it. I think that a couple things that have really helped me over the years. One is always getting connected with a group. In fact, today's Tuesday, and every Tuesday night, I'm part of a small group of guys, and we meet, we talk about life and what we're struggling with, and we're very, very honest and vulnerable. And in many cases, they know me better than I know myself and are asking tough questions. And so I think really that level of accountability and friendship is a huge piece. And I've got several people that we check on each other regularly and really care for one another and ask tough questions. And usually scandals that bubble over are the result of a long time of sort of secret type of small behavior that grows and then gets uncontrollable. So if you can try to catch those things and have somebody involved in your life when things are smaller, hopefully you can avoid the bigger crashes. But again, I'm no perfect person,
of course.
And you need to get Tebow probably to answer that question.
He won't. I've talked to the foundation. I wanted to have someone from the foundation come on. It doesn't have to be Tim, just to talk about what they're doing, because they're doing some great things, especially in the trafficking space.
Yeah.
I used to work for LexisNexis, and that was a big thing. But influences on you, your father and Steve. Is there anyone else that just jumps out as who was a real influence in you in your life?
Yeah. Well, my mom was an incredibly stabilizing person. She still is. She comes and helps, and everything is just more smooth and peaceful with the family. So clearly the parents, a couple other people I would mention. One is my high school football coach. Like many guys, I asked a lot of guys in the NFL, like, who impacted you more than anybody? And most of them said their high school football coach really taught me a lot. And then I also would say, in college, there was a guy that named Pete, an older former Marine, who kind of took me under his wing, and when we'd meet every week and just we talked about life, and he really shaped me. And largely because of that relationship with him and his family, it had me, when I went to New Orleans, looking for something to be involved in. So I'd say my high school football coach, Jimmy Ray Stevens, and Pete Robertson from in college are two among many others that have really impacted me.
I mean, it takes a ton of people. A couple of quick questions. Now we're running out of time here. You had a reunion of sorts with the '95 team. Obviously, you're in a fraternity where you're a Heisman fraternity, you're a Gator fraternity. How close are you with people on the team? People like Tebow. I know you're close with Steve. Do you get the chance to talk to them at all? Is it just we see them at events?
Yeah, I see Spurrier a lot. We touch base. Some a bunch this weekend. We had the reunion for the '95 and '96 teams. See and run into Tebow at a good bit of things. We actually have a call scheduled tomorrow to talk about the digital media stuff that he's involved in. I'm trying to learn what the heck that means. Old guy like me, I'm just proud I got hooked into this technology to talk to you.
Yeah.
Without having help. So yeah, and then there's certain guys, Chris Doring. Every time I go to Gainesville, I usually stay at his house. We're really close. James Bates, Jason Odom, my roommate. I see Lawrence Wright and several of the guys. But when you come back together, a lot of the guys you just haven't seen for many years, and it's really special. It's a great bond. And I also, a week before, celebrated the 30-year reunion of my high school state championship.
Wow.
And that was amazing as well. Same thing, guys getting back together and just we ran. Well, we probably more jogged through old plays and just had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's all. Well, you can tell Tim how much fun you had on the Wolff Den and see if he wants to
Yeah.
if he wants to come on. Do you have two more questions? The first one I asked is, do you have a bucket list? Is there something you haven't done in life that you'd love to do?
Not really. I'll tell you, I did get into flag football playing in the AFFL the last few years, the professional flag football tournament every summer, and love that. And was really excited to keep doing that. But I got arthritis in my shoulder. I guess 47-year-old shoulders aren't meant to try to throw a football like a 20-year-old. So that's a bucket list that's probably not going to happen. But I've also picked up a new, I think, fascinating sport, the fastest growing sport in the country, pickleball. And
it's funny because we have a mutual friend, Brian Levine. Who,
he's huge. I played with Brian 2 days ago.
Yeah, he's into pickleball now, and you did a great thing with his for his 40th birthday, or they had like a camp and something. So I know he's big into pickleball now. Are you good at it?
Well, it's all relative. I've gotten better pretty quick, but love the game, and that's what's fun about it. Anybody can get in and play it at any level, but then you can get all the way up to like Roger Federer's playing. Yeah, I hear Teddy Dupay. I see that as a big time player. I'm waiting for him to show up. Let's go, Teddy.
Yeah, I'll tell Teddy. We're working on a Gator reunion for basketball that's going to happen next August, and
nice.
Teddy's been a big supporter. I'm going to help put it together. They did it like 12 years ago, and then they stopped. I'm like, we need to do this every year. We need to celebrate. You got to keep the, it's all about the branding. I'm all about the branding. Ticket Time Machine, Gators, everything I own is orange and blue. Really appreciate your time here today. I'm going to let you go the same way I let every guest go. You can pick one person in the entire world to spend a day with. Who is it going to be, and what are you going to do? It can't be anyone you're related to. They have to be alive, and you should make it someone you can't make happen, because we're doing outreach. We just did outreach for Ellen. Someone has Ellen DeGeneres, and we're doing outreach. We're going to make it happen for as many of our guests as we can. But who would you like to spend a day with, and what would you like to do?
Man, that's a fascinating question. I wish you'd asked me earlier. I could have really thought through it. I just got to spend a day with the best pickleball player in the world, and that was amazing.
You know who that is?
Ben Johns. Yeah.
Ben Johns.
Yes. Oh, that was fantastic. He was absolutely fun and absolutely amazing. Let's see, who would be. I tell you, just came to mind. Jim Gaffigan is a comedian who's just funny as all get. I love to go to a restaurant with Jim Gaffigan. He loves to eat, or at least that's part of his comedy routine. There's some people that I'd love to. I'd love to. A couple different of the politicians. I'd love to sit down with George W. Bush or Barack Obama and just really plug their brains on probably having one of the hardest jobs ever, and just learn from them.
All great. We've had both of them picked before. Gaffigan's a great pick. We're going to put him on the list for you. See if we can't make it happen. Just a funny guy. Have you ever seen his show? He had a show.
Not live. We watched most of them on TV.
No, he had a TV show, like a comedy series.
Oh yeah. We saw a couple of those.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Well, we're going to put it on the list. Really appreciate your time here. Looking forward to seeing you in Jacksonville in October. Check out the Desire Cup if you want to play. You still have opportunity for foursomes?
We do, yeah. There's ways to get in here still, and also plug for what we call the 19th hole. Many of you that are watching this may not be able to come for a variety of reasons, but you can still help. We call it the 19th hole. You can check it out and make a donation of any size to support the event and impact kids and families all over the country.
Perfect. DesireCup.org, DesireStreet.org, WuerffelFoundation.org. Just go and check it all out and help Danny on his mission to make the world a better place. You're doing a great job so far. I'm going to help the best I can. Looking forward to getting more involved with Desire Cup and everything that you're doing. And if there's anything else I can do to help, let me know. And go Gators. Anything else you want to share with your fans?
That's good, man. Good job. Yeah, God bless. Go Gators.
Thanks, Danny.